Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Hanne Cesar, everyone's favorite Turkulainen and the Bruce Lee of healthy startup ecosystem. But yeah, I have a lot of great content coming to today, and also special guests. And we have Pamela Spokes, Juha Järvinen, my dear colleagues, and today my co-hosts. And do you want to introduce yourselves?
All right, my name's Pamela Spokes. I'm originally Canadian, came to Finland a long time ago. And I'm a service designer here at Metropolia, University of Applied Sciences, and I work in the RDI team, Research, Development, and Innovation.
Hi, I'm Juha Järvinen. I'm from Metropolia as well, from the RDI team, and I've been trained as an industrial designer, but currently I work as an innovation specialist here in Metropolia, together with Hannes and Pamela in the Turbiini team.
Great. So today's topic is very interesting topic, and also an online product launch of service design sprint that all of us have been working on in the past 1 year and even a bit more. And also, we're gonna announce that through this live stream, as well as we're gonna go through the massive open online course content that Pamela has been rigorously and put a lot of effort creating the great text and visuals that we've been able to create so far. Would you like to explain or describe about the fundamentals, basics of service design? What is it, possibly? And the best way how you can just describe it.
Right. Well, first you generally need to kind of define what a service is, right? Because people, when you talk about service, people generally immediately jump to customer service. So especially when you're talking about companies and you're talking about service, that is the default probably in like 90% of people's minds. So basically a service is something that just helps a person do something else or to create a certain outcome. Mm-hmm. So, something as simple as getting your electricity bill is a service that the company provides to you. It allows you to see your usage. It allows you to have a method of payment. There are many things that are actually happening, many different services that are happening with that one piece of paper or that email PDF that you're getting from that company. And some are better than others. You can tell that when you change service providers in anything. Some have more detail, some have more understandable detail. Some of them put it in lay terms. Some of them just tell you about your kilowatts that you have used without explaining what that even means or what time of day or if any of this even matters. So, when you want to do something, when you want to pay your bill, when you want to understand your electricity usage, all of these are services that the electricity company provides to you. And so service design is really about how do we make those services so that they reflect the needs of the customer, how do they understand the customer and fit into a way that they would like to do something, and how will they understand what it is that they're doing, and the company understands what it is that you're trying to do. What is that something that you want to achieve? So here we're looking at, this is what is called the double diamond. So this is the British Design Council's model of the design process. And in here, there's many different layers to this. You can see that the very first point on there is the general problem. So kind of, what is it that you're seeing? Are you getting a lot of customer service calls that are asking a very specific thing, like I don't understand my bill. Can you explain this to me? That's a problem. But at that point, you don't know what the exact problem is. You don't know what the problem with the bill is. So, the first part of the double diamond is to do your research. Start interviewing these people that have called, and find out, ask them questions. What are the things that are not understandable? How would you, understand this better? What makes more sense to you, right? So asking them questions. And, once you've done that and you've gathered all the insights that you can really start defining what the specific problem is. Maybe the terminology you're using is just too technical and it's not something that general people understand. Maybe it's the layout. Maybe it doesn't make logical sense, right? So you can kind of move through this process. So once you've gathered your insights and you've kind of like taken them down to the specific problem, then you can start creating ideas on how to fix that. Create different layouts, use different terminology, figure out what lay people call things. You can do more research on that if you haven't done that yet. So, but with the ideation, you're just kind of throwing out a bunch of ideas, good, bad, ugly ideas. They're all good. And then see what you come out with then. And then you kind of you start narrowing those down and decide to prototype a certain, maybe you have 2 or 3 different versions that you want to prototype. You can A/B test those with some potential customers or with people that were included in the process earlier, or you can just start sending out bills and see which bills get more customer service calls.
Yeah.
There's all different kinds of ways to prototype and test things.
Yeah.
And so by then you have this specific solution. You'll know what works and what doesn't work. And kind of like an addition to this is more of kind of like a lay term for the 2 halves, the 2 diamonds here. So the first part is about doing the right thing, right? That's how you got to make sure that you're this is why you do your research, because you're solving the right problem. If you just go and guess what the problem is and start making solutions, I was listening to a book this morning and it said it's like throwing a fire extinguisher to someone who's drowning. It doesn't solve the problem at all, right? So you got to make sure that you solve the right problem. And then once you have your specific problem that is a problem, and then you move into the second half of this process so that you do the thing right. And that is testing different ideas and seeing which is the right way to go in your solution.
Can we add on this also that a problem that is worth solving?
Yeah, for sure. It has to be, there has to be some impact for your company, for the customer. Otherwise, why are you solving it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So solving something fundamental and something that problem that repeats among some
real
population.
problem. Real problems for your customers. And that's a way to keep customers, right? Is actually solving real problems. And if you're just guessing at what the problems are and you're throwing out solutions, it's going to cost you far more in money, in a human resource, in time, all of these things, and it's going to be pointless. But you can also use this for, if you want to, think about your career, right? Do some research into the skills that you have. Where could your skills be utilized? You got to you get a whole bunch of different job places. Then you look at the ones, what would be interesting for me? And then you kind of like pull out the ones that would be interesting. So then you start ideating, okay, how do I start looking for these kinds of jobs? And then, create your CV. And so like I said, this isn't the service design process. This is the design thinking process.
Yeah. Right.
So that's the difference. It's just, this is the design thinking process applied in the service context, but you can apply it in many, many different contexts. One of the things I wanted to make sure that we said was that, I gave an example of a bill, but it could also be about how a service works in a coffee shop, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's a physical service or if it's a digital service or, some service in between, whatever that might be, or it might be in a hospital, or it might, all of these places can use service design, and all of these places need service design. Well, this actually goes back to, one of the most common discussions or points made in service design is that when someone goes to buy a drill, they don't want the drill, they want the hole in their wall,
Nice.
right?
Yep.
So I don't care what my drill looks like. I don't care what brand it is.
Well, some
generally.
of us do.
So, well, some people do. But in the, the important thing in the end is that will I get the hole in the wall that I'm looking
Exactly,
for?
yeah.
And so that goes to show you I'm buying a product to give me a service.
Yeah.
This is a great example.
This morning I was driving here. I was thinking about that. This might be a stupid example, but I was pondering whether if you are producing doors and door frames, is it actually the service that you are providing is enter and exit service?
Well,
so
I was
to
thinking
speak.
privacy.
Well,
Privacy
privacy as
services.
well. You can close the door. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good addition.
Safety.
Yeah. So
security.
if the entrance or the exit through the door is not convenient or a working solution, then your service is not good as well.
Yeah. I don't know what the customer needs. And I need to be open to understanding that and being comfortable with not knowing and saying I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when we looked at that double diamond process, right? Nowhere in the first half of that diamond did I talk about coming up with any ideas about solutions, right? And that is the hardest part. Being a human, humans are solution oriented. They want to come up with answers right away and fix problems. We're great problem solvers in that way. That's what's got us to this point. Well, okay, maybe we're not great problem solvers then, if this is where we're at. But that's another stream.
Yep, it is, definitely.
But yeah, you have to hold off that natural urge to come up with solutions until you get to that ideation point. And that might take, weeks of research and insight gathering and stuff. And by then, as a service designer, I don't want to hear one solution come out of anybody's mouth before we get to the ideation part.
Here, the viewers, the chat can see that there's a service design sprint .fi and a service design sprint massive open line course that we have been building, and now it's public. So yeah, we're happy to announce that it's open, it's public. You can go and start taking the course, complete it, but also return back to the course if you've found certain components or subjects valuable, and if you just need reminding or reminders to yourself that okay, like now I need to apply service design at my own work. What was the topic about the foundations or creating solutions, experimentation, prototyping, etc. So you can always come back to the course itself, and even after completion.
So right there, in the foundation section, this is where you'll find kind of like the basic introductions. You have the entrepreneurial mindset. These are the 9 different kind of ways of thinking that you can kind of practice yourself to become, more entrepreneurial, more open-minded, more growth mindset type of person in order to kind of take on these challenges. Because of course it's about opening up to taking more risks. It's about seeing failure as learning instead of failure. It's about becoming better at networking, better at teamwork, all of these different things that are required. So we're also talking about using co-creation. So that's where you work together with the stakeholders that are in a group, whether that's just customers or whether that's maybe you have investors, maybe you have all these different people who have some kind of stake in your company or organization, and how to become more customer centric. That's really important. There's a difference between being customer focused, where you're kind of you're looking at the customer And whereas customer-centric is really using the customer to guide what it is that you do, rather than it being, just the direction from the company to the customer. This is more the customer to the company. So it's really kind of setting the foundations that you'll need in order to use the tools and the methods that come later on. A design sprint is basically like a 5-day process in which you take an idea or take a problem and you go through in 5 days and create by the end of it, you create a testable prototype. So you'll learn the design sprint. This was created by Jake Knapp, and there's a great book called Sprint. And yeah, look at that. So you can read this book.
And when I read the book, I remember that the design sprint process was created to help Google Ventures. So companies that Google has invested, and they wanted to help those companies to achieve more explosive growth in a sense, and but also utilizing the expertise that Google had.
And they also used it internally, because he talked about using it to he was part of the Google Meet team. So when they were developing this system right at the beginning, he said their process was normally about 18 months to roll out a new product, and by then it hadn't even really been tested. That was just to roll it out to the testing phase. And he's like, it has to be better than this, right?
So he himself came across to a problem.
Yes.
Where he started to figure out solutions.
Yeah.
Different variants of solutions, and this came about from the experiments and research.
Yeah,
that's how many of the great inventions and innovations have been created, recognizing a problem in your everyday work.
Mm-hmm. And we just looked at different collaboration tools, because of course, people need to know how to collaborate when they're not in the same place. So here we looked at, online collaboration tools, whether it's Miro or Mural. There's even some Google products, these Jamboards, and you can even, if you really need to, you can do this on slides. You can have a design thinking session workshop on slides if it's really needed, because everybody can join on the same slides. It's not the best, but it works.
Yeah.
And then, there's different ways that you want to collaborate. If you just want to stay in touch, in between things, you've got Slack and WhatsApp and Teams, all of these ones. And then also organizing your team's work. You have these different tools, Trello, Asana, and then the tools that you can use for pitching.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think that it lowers the threshold for people to say something? Because we all know how awkward it was during the primary school times to go in the front of the class and write something on the whiteboard or table with the chalk or whatever means. And now people they have some kind of a privacy they can work with through their laptops and so on. So.
And then next one, customer centricity.
Yeah. So this is all about keeping your customer at the center of what you do, and making sure that this person is, really guiding the decisions that you're making. So basically, your customer research, you have to deep dive into your customer research to understand who these people are, and there are different methods. Here we talk about the secondary research and primary research, and that's all about where you find your data.
In economy, the local crises are tending to be more and more global crises.
Yep. And the same with the health issues, health crisis.
Yeah.
And also just knowing about other crises
exactly
in the world can put us into crisis.
Yeah.
Right? Somewhere toilet paper is in shortage, so we rush out for no apparent reason to go buy toilet paper, which then causes a toilet paper crisis here.
Yeah.
So it's also this kind of like weird influence where we create our own crises.
In Finnish we have this saying that in a company, stupidity becomes more
contagious.
Yeah, is contagious. Yeah. Ryhmässä tyhmyys tiivistyy.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about like me as an immigrant in Finland. I could do this basically like for my life, right? If we're looking at social and I look at how I would normally live my life in Canada and how life in Finland is normally led, how do I need to change or adjust how I do things, right? How do I need this kind of like, difference in power balances and work-life balance. I come from a country where, you get 2 weeks of holiday a year, right? And so when I'm coming to Finland, it's a different expectation of what I'm going to get. And in the political sector, so what is it going to mean to me when these certain governments come into, certain parties come into a government? How will I have to adjust my life and my expectations? So you could probably, use these also on a personal perspective.
Yep.
And all of this will lead you to building your persona. So that the information that you get from the people, you will kind of pull out, tease out, gather your insights, and that will give you kind of this fictional representation of a group of people. It's not even like one person, it's a group of people where you'll understand what their motivations are and what they value and the things that will drive them to, either purchase your service or product. These kind of very traditional dividers, they don't really work anymore, like income or age. People they're much more, it's much more blurred than it used to be. I listen to the same music as my daughters do. My mother didn't listen to the same music her mother listened to, right? So these are kind of, it's all starting to blur a little more, and it's more about the motivation of what it is that customers are doing. Are they looking for status? Are they looking for security? Are they looking, what is motivating their actions and their behaviors is much more important than what their age is or what gender they are. So, that you find out, motivators and drivers you find out through the research, and you can build your personas based on that. Yeah.
There's this saying in the field of industrial design that professionals, whereas students try desperately make their sketches look like professional and very finished, professionals try desperately to make their sketches like very fast and very even awkward, just to
Time
communicate the ideas. Yeah. So
that's the difference between students and professionals.
Yeah.
Time is money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If someone is paying for that, we have to act quickly.
Yeah, I really love, for instance, like when I was watching a documentary about like Karl Lagerfeld, the fashion designer, like during that documentary, for instance, like he had the notepad or like the canvas, and he was just like, while he was talking, like very fast, non-stop, he was also like scribbling down, like
exactly,
like super fast, all of it, like new type of like, I don't know what's the terms or words for that, but like they just look like, hey, you can turn this just 2D very primitive picture into like fashion. And it just came just from unconsciousness, how he does his things so fast.
Yeah, I remember seeing this as well.
Yeah, his hand is just going.
Yeah, but that's a talent itself, making fashion sketches very quickly.
Yep, and I don't think that he's even drawing those drawings like to perfection.
No.
I think that he has the staff members who are able to also interpret that work.
I hope that I'm not hurting anyone's feelings, but I always said that Alvar Aalto had the same, that kind of a wavy things he draw, and it was the other professionals who then interpreted his sketches and produced the finished drawings. So
this these are more like a sticksmen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Beautiful. But yeah, obviously, like he has like.
But how much drawing and sketching you need to end
Exactly,
up in making
yes.
so
Yeah, that's where
minimalistic
I was,
things.
that's where I was coming to.
Tens
like
of years.
he has done it so many times. Yeah, so naturally, yeah.
Here we have this kind of portion of it here because, of course, when you're building something that is either for your company or for a company that you want to create, it's really important that you actually make money, because
True.
like they say, if
That's,
you're not,
that's a curse word, by
if
the
you're
way.
not, if you're not making money, then it's just a hobby. So, so it's important, that you get your idea down from a business perspective. And here we've created the Metropolia business model canvas, and we've taken, like the basic business model canvas that was created by Alex. Is it Osterwald?
Osterwalder,
Yeah,
yes.
Osterwalder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for us, what's really centrally important for Metropolia is sustainability, and that's that's one of our guiding lights. And so we've taken this Metropolia business model canvas and we've added in a sustainability perspective to it.
And you guys were talking about money. Is this a good moment to remind our audience about why this whole course was created, and what are the kind of what
Yes.
is
Ooh, the
background?
sponsorship.
Yeah, the sponsorship, but the background for this,
Yeah.
Yep.
and what was the original idea that this was intended,
Oh, for sure.
to whom it was intended.
Yeah. Do you want to talk more about that, Juha?
Yes, to put it shortly, there was a project financed by a joint project between the two other universities, Haaga-Heili and Laurea, but we were responsible of creating this entity of and this course in order to assist especially the SMEs and smaller companies to familiarize themselves into service design and taking the best out of the possibilities service design has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, that at the end of the day, the question is about money, how to create more profit in the company. And if any of you are in our audience who are working on the SME sector are utilizing this, we hope that this brings some added value to your operations and probably assists you to create more successful products in a more economical way.
Yep.
And I was just going to add that, this project money was, accessible because, in this kind of post-COVID era, they were wanting help to local companies.
Yes,
right?
True.
And so from this, we have, starting out, we have the Helsinki region or the Uusimaa region
Uusimaa
being
region,
celebrated as an entrepreneurial region in Europe.
Yes.
Right. So we start with that, and then wanting to help local companies do better and use better tools to develop their companies after the kind of devastating consequences of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
And the name of the course is the project is Digital and Green Entrepreneurship to Uusimaa region.
Yeah, prototyping. Everybody needs to be prototyping. So this is how you save your company time and money, human resource, all the things that you need to be saving. And, within this short process, you get them out much faster. And, prototyping it's a wide array of different styles that you can use depending on what it is that you are prototyping. So oftentimes, especially in startups, people will invest so much time and effort into creating their first version of what it is that they're creating. They'll spend 6 months in a room coding something, and then they come out and they present their baby to the world, and the world's like, oh.
I'm sorry.
No one gets it.
interested.
Yeah.
because I noticed from my own behavior that yes, most of my actions were based upon gut feeling, guesstimations, assumptions. And after these tools have been introduced, like I rarely do things based on my gut feeling. Of course, you have to have the survival instincts in a sense and user instincts, but that's very much opposite compared to the gut feeling or guesstimations or guessing even. But yeah, let's end the stream for today. And thank you, Pamela and Juha, for joining me to the stream. And there will be an edit done to the YouTube afterwards in next week probably. So but we're gonna be streaming more as time goes by. So
Great.
as we come up with new content for sure.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.